Hello and welcome to another vlog with the Omega, set here in rural Pennsylvania, home of trees.
It's not rural. We're in Westchester, guys, so it's not very rural.
You got trees, it's rural enough. We went to the movies and we saw Quiet Dale
No. Oh, you know what? We saw Silent Hill Revelation. Revelations have come upon us.
And okay, going into this, I played part of a demo of the first Silent Hill back on the PlayStation 1, and I think I saw the original film, but I recall almost nothing except Alicia Krieger was in it, and Sean Bean was in it and didn't die. So, I'm completely fucking lost.
Well, I saw the first one, and I thought it was alright. I went to go see it, on a Thursday night, and it was good. I liked the effects, and what I really liked about the first one is I read an article that really the only CGI that they used was for the fog, and that all of the costuming was practical effects, and that was pretty cool. Now, I played the first 25 minutes of Silent Hill 2 on the PlayStation because my friend was like, oh my gosh, it's the best game ever! But it was hard, and there were rats, and there were, zombies, and...
Zombie children.
Yeah, no, I don't think I got that far. There's just one or two zombies in the road. But here's the thing, if I play a video game, I want ninja powers, or death blow combos, or magical powers, or a huge freaking sword, or gun. Apparently the point of Silent Hill is all you have is a twig occasionally, and a flashlight and a radio, and everything kills you. And I'm like, I just can't get into this. And also, I'm no good at puzzles. I have to look them up.
Ghosts and goblins.
Well, also the puzzles, I'm no good at them. I have to look them up on the walkthrough, so I like action-y kind of stuff, so...
But we saw Silent Hill Revelation, and, I didn't think I'd see a worse horror movie at the cinema this year than The Possession. Blown out of the fucking water.
Yeah, she kept, whispering over to me, this is so horrible, the script is so predictable, and actually the script was so predictable.
It's so lazy. It was as though the person had just knocked out of a draft in a week and then decided, it'll do. It's like, oh, here's a girl coming out of a crime scene. Oh, look, well, please point out, hey, girl, you're in a crime scene. Go out of leave there. And then they're all like, oh, right in front of her. Oh, let's see who this dead body is. Oh, it's this guy that was confirming the identity. This guy is the person that she was talking to earlier. And then it's like, oh, look, I found a coat that was on the crime scene covered in blood. Let's look at it. Oh, there's a person's name in here. And they got a photo of her. I wonder if we're going to look out for this blonde girl who looks identical to the girl who just came out of the thing we pointed out to go over there.
Well, that, and it featured... Stop that, don't beat yourself up over the movie. That, and it also featured the line, go to hell, we're already there. Because that was really original, when Caesar used it, because that's probably its first use.
If the first one only had CGI for the fog, then, nice and restrained, although I really wonder why you can't just use a fucking fog machine. But
because it had to do special fog tricks.
Everything is fucking CGI in this. So fucking lazy. And everything's so obvious. And it's so fucking generic. Okay, I think half the monsters there are from the game, so people who like the games will be squealing over it.
Yeah, there was this one climactic spoiler-free fight at the end that I actually leaned over and I said, I think this fight is just here for fan service. Because I recognize one of those characters, and I think the other one is probably important in one of the video games.
Yeah.
So probably this is like someone's fan fiction wet dream coming true.
It's... For somebody who doesn't like the game, this is just generic horror monsters thrown together in a mashup. One sequence, she's walking down the thing, and then suddenly she's in, this boiler room, and I leant over and started doing the Freddy Krueger song, because this is just like the bit where Nancy is in the boiler room in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Then later on, you got the monster with, the saw blades coming out of the head, which isn't just, a rip-off of Cenobites. Oh, no, it was very reminiscent of Cabin in the Woods' parody of the Cenobites.
Yeah. So take that, Josh Whedon.
No, Justin, they were referencing it.
Yeah,
This
I know.
one
I was being funny.
a copy of a reference, but and then you got the nuns, the nurses who are stay still unless there's sound. They keep making fucking noise.
Well, here's the thing. The thing about the nurses that froze unless there was sound, I hadn't really felt for the actresses because in the parts where they had to freeze and hold it, I really wish they'd use some kind of film effect because you could see those poor actresses' muscles twitching and shaking from the strain of holding those poses. And it really looked like it looked like, when everyone's crouched down, waiting for your friend to walk in the door so everyone can jump up and scream surprise happy birthday, and your muscle gets tired and starts to shake like really bad. That's what it looked like, and I was like, oh, let them sit down. Those poor women are using effect.
I think they're going for realism there, though, because they are meant to be real people, I think.
I thought they were... You'd think that if you were like a creature given blessed powers by the darkness, that you could hold still without shaking, but I don't know.
Didn't Sterling even make any fucking sense? She was a demon god thing, but then they left and the fog was gone, and then some of the fog's there again because apparently she wasn't in charge of the fog, and then you've got the carnival. How many people are in this tiny West Virginia town that they've got an insane asylum, a carnival, they've got themselves buildings underneath all everything. You've got, like,
in a structurally unsound place. All right, okay. The Silent Hill in the first movie was based off of Centralia, Pennsylvania, a real-life town that is a really tiny little coal mining town in Pennsylvania that in the 1960s, a trash fire lit the mines on fire. So all of that coal, square acres of coal, is still burning under Centralia and will continue to do so for several hundred more years. So they took that idea, which quite frankly is pretty kick-ass, and they used it in Silent Hill 1. And the problem was that it was in the West Virginia mountains, and it was a hill that was isolated by valleys from the other foothills. You had to get there by going over a bridge, which means that anything that you build underground with a mine fire is going to be structurally unsound. And it just seemed like, oh, we need this kind of building for the town. It was a lot more realistic in the first movie when they were creeping around it.
I came to the conclusion that Silent Hill, moves as a predator cannibal town that consumes other towns to take what it needs. And, okay, you had about 20,000 people in it, and then, it was cut off in the 60s, and then everyone's getting killed by monsters every night. How the fuck are there still people there? Yes, they're breeding, but you can't breed at the same rate as people getting killed, because there was like hundreds of people who were turned into various monsters and stuff, although, okay, I did like the mannequin spider, and they must do that in an episode of Doctor Who. That was, rather amusing, but it made no fucking sense. This mannequin place, like this entire building full of mannequins, and then you come across this woman who's like naked and getting turned into a mannequin, which is like, okay, ooh, and then suddenly this other one's tied up in plastic, and then the mannequin
the biggest saran wrap spider ever.
And the mannequin spider comes in. So, what's the mannequin spider going to do? Eat her? Turn her into another mannequin? If so, we already had one of them.
And, like, the big driving force of the plot kind of happens between the two movies. Like, so at the end of Silent Hill 1, and if you're going to complain about spoilers, it's been like 6 or 7 years, so shame on you for not having seen it. It's pretty well established that Sean Bean just goes home to, I can't even talk. Sean Bean goes home to just, think about the rest of his life, and it's pretty clear that the daughter and the mother did not ever escape from Silent Hill. They were ghosts. They were just standing behind him in the shadows because they were ghosts. They died. They never were free. And it ties into a lot of stuff that I said about the first movie, which I reviewed on my live journal in 2006. But, yeah, it was pretty crappy. And then apparently it turns out the framing device for this is, well, you see, actually, the mom didn't die. She's still alive in Silent Hill, and she can communicate through mirrors because that's
does that once.
Really convenient. And, okay, the daughter actually did come through between movies, but they have a flashback to that, which isn't clear that it's a flashback, because Sean Bean's the same age.
Yeah, I thought it was just another story, and I thought he had 2 daughters.
Yeah, and, she wakes up on the couch like, oh, I remember nothing, and I have a weird metallic seal in my hand. And
then Malcolm McDowell turns up for...
That was really great.
No, was it?
No, it was because apparently, can't you just see, the director going to him and be like, all right, so you're Malcolm McDowell. He's like, yes, I am. Please leave me in my movie, please, please, please. Well, all right.
Well, I'm in everything else.
I thought it was cool. I think it's cool when there's little movies that famous people cameo in.
Yeah, he cameos in a lot of things, though. It's just...
And people were struggling with their accents.
Oh, yeah. The Edward Cullen wannabe was Australian. Apparently, well, he sounded Australian. There's Sean Bean. Okay, there's an ongoing thing that Sean Bean and his daughter have changing their names every so often. But with Sean Bean, it sounds like he's doing the same with his accent.
Well, he was doing that in the first movie, too.
Okay, well, that's where he got the idea for the name change, then.
It's just, it's messy, and it could have been something really cool, but it forgot. Apparently they didn't see the first movie, or they just thought, we'll just improve upon this, because A lot of things seem to happen because the script demands it.
Yeah, it's like the scriptwriter just decided, did one draft, thought it'll do, fuck it, and then got high for the rest of the 3 months he had to write it. And the director was like, hey, I'm the same person as the writer, I think I'm a genius. Psh, film.
Well,
Bad.
a lot of it did seem to play like a video game. Like, I've seen all of Yahtzee's reviews of the various Silent Hill games that he's reviewed, and I could hear his criticisms for some of the games and apply them to the movie. Like, it really did seem like we were watching someone's fan movie of a video game. Like, there were even parts that could have been QuickTime events. Like, I leaned over, press X to struggle against his grip.
Yeah, and then the Pennywise turning up, it was like, I don't understand. Why did they have to make it A, complicated, and B, not nice for people coming into the storyline to the film without having seen the first one, by having a continuation of the first one? Apparently the first one ended in a nice point and that story was finished. They could have just done it on, like, I don't know, completely different person and other person just land in Silent Hill by accident, and then nasty things happen to them, and then you would have been in Silent Hill the whole time, rather than being in, hey, we're in Pennsylvania.
Well, actually, I think that's the way the Silent Hill games went. Like, each game is a different person with problems.
Yeah, they could have done that. That would have been better. With this, they have like, oh, we've cured the town of the evilness, and then Sean Bean goes off to do it.
No, I have to stay here. Why? Because of the reason.
I gotta save my wife, even though my daughter has like crazy god powers, and she could easily save my wife. I gotta do this myself, and then he goes.
Oh, spoilers! Sorry, spoilers.
Then the fog goes, and then of course the police suddenly arrive, and then there's like, it's like, hey guys, we just remembered there was a town here.
Well, I think that's a setup to the sequel because they had a police bus, and the only thing a police bus built like that is used for is the transfer of prisoners. And remember now how all of a sudden, oh wait, the town was founded as a prison colony. Wait, no, that's not. The Europeans did that. Americans didn't found prison colonies. It was a mining town. Why would they, go all the trouble to build this huge prison that was never shown anywhere, and then be like, wait a second, why, there's coal in them thar hills, let's be a mining town instead. It was all over the map.
Why not just have, they got their crazy demon cult thing. Why not just have people who are barely, there's like, I don't know.
And the demon cult thing was vaguely Christian in the first movie.
Why not just have 100 people who are barely surviving, who are trapped there, and this nasty shit happens to people who happen to come to the town, which I'm guessing is what happens in the video games.
I think so.
Okay, so next time, do what happens in the video games story-wise, and just don't string together a bunch of fucking set pieces.
And stick with a theme. Like, the mining theme from the first one was really cool, because a lot of these Brethren soldiers were dressed as, turn-of-the-century miners, and it was spooky, and it was fucking cool. Now you have them dressed like modern miners, from literally, I think they might have gone to coal country and bought just modern, mining gear.
A bunch of mental institution stuff instead of mining stuff.
Yeah, of course, okay, first of all, I'm going to break in because my parents are psychologists and they know a lot about mental health. Huge asylums, the huge Gothic asylums, were in places of a high population. It would make no sense to build a huge Gothic asylum, or have a huge Gothic building for use as an asylum in a shit-poor West Virginia coal town. Plus, a lot of those buildings were eventually taken over by the state and either bulldozed or converted into modern facilities. It seemed like they wanted to do so much more, but were limited by the fact that this was a Silent Hill movie. I think if they had gone with it not being Silent Hill, they could have done more stuff. They had the whole Devil's Carnival and Dark Clown aspect going on, but it didn't fit with anything else. It did feel like something from Doctor Who.
Hey guys, we have a carnival going on with rides and everything in this town that's been isolated for 40 years, and where the fuck are we getting all of our electricity from?
Although they could be harnessing the heat from the coal fire if they built a generator that could run on that. Technically, I'm just saying.
Why is the ride still going, and
who oils them? Pyramid Head?
Why is the place not far more decrepit? Bitsville were decrepit, good.
Well, I think the point of it was during the day when, quote-unquote, the darkness isn't there. It's just an abandoned town that is falling apart. Because in the first movie, when the cop and Sean Bean go there, they do wander around, and the cop's be careful, all these buildings are condemned, they've been basically left to rot for 40 years. But then when the darkness happens, everything goes CGI, and that's when it becomes hell.
Okay, but it's still silly. Like the bit where they bring the guy in to get him killed by the nurses. I'm not sure exactly why they wanted to get the nurse to kill him. They could have just, Voldo could have just killed him, but no, they wanted to put him on there on the thing on the track thing, kill by the nurses. The two miners who do it, who push him in there, are like they're really shit. They immediately make noise and get killed by the nurses.
Spoilers.
Couldn't they just push him in, close the door? The noise of the door would make them freak out, and then eventually he would scream and get stabbed. Over.
Because I think you're a better demon cult leader than what was going on here.
I agree. This is fucking awful.
Well, that's what we thought about it. You'll probably have different or the same opinions. And if you haven't seen the first one, you might as well... Would you stop that? Stop praying for the souls of the damned.
I'm not praying.
What are you crying?
Face palming.
Oh. Double face palm? Okay. So, do yourself a favor and either see if it's on Netflix or rent or torrent or whatever. It's the first Silent Hill. Because it's not as bad. And it also has a really hot cop in it. I mean, she's like really hot in motorcycle pants and everything. But, so, that's what we had to say. Any final words?
Fuck Michael J. Bassett.
Yes. You should be ashamed of yourself. Alright, we'll see y'all later.